LA Rider is brought to you by the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign, a 501c3 nonprofit organization exclusively dedicated to promoting motorcycle awareness and rider safety throughout Louisiana and the nation.
I didn't see him.
She just came out of nowhere.
Oh, God, what am I gonna do?
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us. Watch for us.
Save us.
Nearly two-thirds of all motorcycle fatalities are caused by distracted and inattentive drivers. Please, watch for motorcycles.
Hello and welcome to LA Rider, Louisiana's only weekly television program exclusively dedicated to motorcycle travel, lifestyles, and adventure. I'm T.W. Robinson and we're so glad you're joining us today. This week, Tammy and I check out some rural back roads and explore some of the historic sites on the Northeast Louisiana Music Trail. First, we visit the birthplace of Louisiana's singing governor, a man who lived in 3 centuries and gave us one of the world's most familiar songs. Then we head north to Tammy's birthplace, Talullah, where we learn about another prominent Northeast Louisiana musician and have lunch at the Farmers Club, which not only serves great food, but also pays tribute to the Jackson Parish ag community. All this and much more in this edition of LA Rider. So grab your gear and kickstands up, everyone. It's time to get the show on the road. Welcome to LA Rider. I'm T.W. Robinson. This week, Tammy and I spent some time riding and exploring the Northeast Louisiana Music Trail, which honors the region's rich musical heritage. Our first ride took us to Jackson Parish, birthplace of Louisiana's singing governor. It was an absolutely beautiful Northeast Louisiana morning as Tammy and I pulled away from Warhawk Harley-Davidson in Monroe. Tammy had just picked up a beautiful blue, slightly customized Harley-Davidson Fat Boy, and we intended to put a few miles on it over the weekend, checking out the Northeast Louisiana Music Trail. Enoch Doyle Jeter is the mastermind of the Northeast Louisiana Music Trail. Jeter, who owns a popular Monroe lounge and music venue, says the trail seeks to honor the rich musical heritage of the region by erecting specially constructed signs recognizing the musicians, places, and musical history of the area.
We wanted to do something for 40 years, basically, that would honor some of these performers that were from here, and people just didn't know it. So the last 5 years, I got serious about it with a lot of help. And we started looking at honoring these people with historical markers, much like the markers that are in Mississippi Blues Trail.
In just 2 years' time, 23 signs have already been placed, honoring artists like Webb Pierce, Fred Carter, and Lainey Wilson, and many more are planned. With that in mind, Tammy and I decided to visit some of the Louisiana Music Trail sites. And today we were headed to Jackson Parish, birthplace of a true music legend. 2-term governor of Louisiana, movie star and member of both the Country and Gospel Music Halls of Fame, Jimmie Davis. Our hour-long ride took us roughly west-southwest along highways 34, 146, 155, and 542, through towns and villages like Balcomville, Eros, and Chatham, and ultimately to Beach Springs, birthplace and final resting place of the man who made You Are My Sunshine one of the world's most recognized songs. The tabernacle is built on the site of the old sharecropper cabin where Davis was born. The Talullah Music Trail sign is near the road at the front of the property.
So this is the Northeast Louisiana Music Trail marker, and I love the fact that they encapsulate what his life represented. I just encourage anybody, when you want to take a day trip, you want to take a good motorcycle ride on some great roads in Louisiana, especially here through Jackson Parish, stop and see this.
After checking out the sign, Tammy and I headed to the old cabin.
Let's see if we can get in. I bet it's locked.
It might be. No, I see a padlock.
I see a padlock, yeah.
Since the doors were locked, we decided to sit a spell.
You know, I love coming to Jackson Parish because it just brings back so much history. Because of Jimmie Davis, everybody around the world knows him because he performed You Are My Sunshine. But for those in Louisiana history, you know, he actually was raised just a few miles from here, a little community called Beach Springs, and that's why Jackson Parish is considered his home. But then he moved to Shreveport, and he was actually a teacher, and he was at Dodd College. And then he kind of wrangled his way into radio up there at KWKH. So that kind of his music career started there, but also his political career. I just was kind of refreshing my memory and didn't realize that his first public office was Public Safety Commissioner there in Northwest Louisiana.
Okay.
Yeah. And then continued to run for office, and I believe I had 2 terms as governor. That last one, 1960 to 1964. You know, Jimmie Davis is known worldwide for You Are My Sunshine. When he heard that song, he loved it so much that he bought it from the guys who wrote it. He didn't write it, but he is the one that made it famous. Now, Gene Autry also did I think I read somewhere it's one of the most re-recorded songs of all time. So a lot of people have done it, but obviously
everybody knows that song.
Everybody knows that song. But we are just endeared to the one that Jimmie Davis did, and everybody can do it in their own way, but nobody can do it quite like Jimmie.
Davis died at the age of 101 on November 5th, 2000. His funeral services were held at the Tabernacle, and he was laid to rest in the little cemetery just behind the church. And although he achieved much fame as a politician, actor, and entertainer, Jimmie Davis will perhaps be best remembered for the gift he brought to the world, that little song that nearly every child can sing.
Please don't take my sunshine away.
Well, riding the music trail can make a chrome cowgirl hungry. So before heading back to Monroe, we decided to take a short ride to Caney Lake Landing, where you can launch your boat, get fishing tackle and supplies, and a darn good meal to boot.
I'm going in. Ooh. Oh my word, that's worth the wait. That is, I'm telling you, that is an old-fashioned.
No wonder the fishermen come here.
Oh, I didn't think about that. We should have ordered fish.
Those burgers were good, and they also have po' boy, seafood baskets, salads, boiled shrimp, and crawfish. Be sure to check them out. More LA Rider in a moment.
LA Rider is brought to you by the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign, a 501c3 nonprofit organization exclusively dedicated to promoting motorcycle awareness and rider safety throughout Louisiana and the nation.
I didn't see him.
Watch for us.
She just came out of nowhere.
See us.
Oh, God, what am I going to do?
Save us.
Please watch for motorcycles. You might just save someone's life.
Right when I got at the intersection of Choctaw and Foster, this great Challenger just jumped in the turning lane and bust a quick left turn in front of me right while I was at the intersection. All I could remember was the big crash, and next thing I know, I was in EMS, headed to the Our Lady of the Lake Hospital. Sustained a pelvis fracture from the front and the back, plus I sustained a crushed wrist, just trying to get back straight now. Plus I had 3 major arteries leaking, so I had internal bleeding when I went there, so they had to do emergency surgery to get that taken care of before they could get this here going. So actually I went through 3 surgeries. I had big daymaker lights on and all kind of other lighted up areas on it, you know. Plus I had a little noisy exhaust on it, you know. And I don't see how he wouldn't have seen me.
Please watch for motorcycles. You might just save someone's life.
I didn't see him.
She just came out of nowhere.
God, what am I gonna do?
Watch for us.
See us.
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 Watch for us.
Save us.
Nearly 2/3 of all motorcycle fatalities are caused by distracted and inattentive drivers. Please watch for motorcycles.
All of a sudden, I see this car. He stopped, starts to turn out in front of us. Next thing I knew, I was on the ground, crawling around, looking for, my boyfriend just to make sure he was okay. In 2 seconds, it can all be over. And people don't take the time to think about that when they're on the roads, because in our situation, the guy said, I saw them. I just thought I could make it. I never, ever in my entire life thought this would happen to me, honestly.
Support motorcycle safety and encourage other drivers to watch for motorcycles. Purchase a motorcycle awareness specialty plate for your car, truck, or motorcycle. For an additional $25 a year, you can help the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign promote safety, awareness, and training programs throughout Louisiana.
I'm T.W. Robinson. No matter what you ride, put a MAC plate on it and help support motorcycle awareness wherever you go.
Welcome back. Our next destination on the Talullah Music Trail took us to Tammi Arnder's hometown, where we hooked up with Tammy's sister and learned about Talullah, Louisiana's contribution to the blues.
As we pull out of Warhawk Harley-Davidson in Monroe, I decide we're heading east because just 50 miles east of Monroe is Talullah, the town that raised me. So we travel along Highway 80, running parallel to I-20. And you'll see the little map dots along the way of Start, home of Tim McGraw, then Rayville, and Delhi. Delhi, the home of State Representative Francis Thompson, who has served in the Louisiana legislature for decades, and a huge fan of L.A. Rider. So just about an hour later, we land in Jackson Parish, the place where I spent the first 17 years of my life. And here at the courthouse, we find one of the markers along the Northeast Louisiana Music Trail for Rufus Wimberly. And my sister, Cynthia Arnder Machen, is so proud of this marker and our hometown.
So, we made it to Talullah, my hometown. Well, my sister actually still lives here. Cynthia Arnder Machen. She basically runs the town. No offense to the mayor. But, you have also been a big fan of the Northeast Louisiana Music Trail and helping Doyle and attending most of the unveilings. But we had one in Talullah.
Right.
I was not familiar with Rufus Rip Wimberly. What can you tell us about that?
Well, he was back in the day, so you probably were a real young girl, but he was our famous blues guitar player. And he taught many guys here how to play blues guitar. And everybody went everywhere with him. He played at the Pig Fest, what we call the Pig Fest, Folk Life Fest, Jazz Fest. He was all over the place for most all his life. But he was from Talullah and lived in Talullah until a ripe old age. He's been gone for some years now, but he is our claim to fame as a blues guitar player.
And you do a great job right here, Cynthia.
I call it my sign. I say, I'm going to go plant some flowers at my sign, and it's not my sign.
Well, now that TW and I have done our bit of sightseeing in Talullah, it's time to find lunch. And I suggest the Farmers Club on Highway 65 just south of I-20. And its name is apropos, since it's in the heart of this farming community. And I hear the food is fantastic. You see, it wasn't here when I was growing up, so I'm ready to give it a try and learn more about its unique decor from owner Brian Ashley, a farmer himself.
It was Red Top Cafe and all that, and just changed the whole theme, farming community. I've been farming since I was old enough to get on a tractor, so we just decided to change the theme.
Where'd you come up with the food ideas?
Well, kind of a mixture from truck stop days and my mother's and food salesman. It's a world of food to choose from out there nowadays, so we just put it together, keep changing pretty much daily, but I think we have a menu we're sticking with now.
And the menu is huge. There is something for everyone.
Who thought we'd be eating this good in Talullah, Louisiana?
I know, really. I am surprised. I didn't know they had good cooks in Talullah.
Well, now this wasn't here when I grew up here. Well, what do you mean didn't have good cooks in Talullah? I was slow on the uptake. I got that
You
good.
were.
All right. This looks amazing. And I will share. I promise I'll share. All right, ready? Ooh.
Whoa.
Let me get it all in my mouth. String cheese.
Okay, you promised me a bite.
Oh, yeah.
And what is this right there?
It's like a pesto sauce, and it's really good.
I want some of that.
Well, you need a shrimp, too.
I have plenty of shrimp.
Oh, but not like that. What do you think? Good. All right.
Pesto and cheese on grits, but anything's good on grits.
Anything's good on grits.
Anything.
My favorite thing about the Farmers Club is the decor. Brian wanted to recognize those in the ag community who make Madison Parish what it is.
Well, it's a combination from things I've had for years, still buying almost weekly little odd and end things, like the grain probe that's on the wall. You wouldn't believe the people that come in and they want to know what the grain probe is, because you don't use those much anymore. The elevators are all automated, but it's a conversation piece for a lot of people.
Do you have a lot of farmers that come in here off the tractor to get lunch?
Oh, yeah. We have charge accounts with the farmers, and they get to go lunches. We did a lot for Todd Kennedy this morning. So, yep.
Yeah, those farmers keeping you busy.
Thank goodness.
Talk about the picture behind you is just quintessential Madison Parish and agriculture. Tell me about that painting.
Well, Shannon Thompson drew that for me. It's a 4x8 piece of plywood. I drew it out on a black and white piece of paper, and she went from there with it.
What do you want somebody that pulls off I-20 and comes in here at Farmers Club? What do you want them to walk away with?
Well, memories. Everybody likes it, and the traveling people find us on the website, Facebook. We have a billboard we're about to put up pretty soon, and they just love it.
Well, TW, I could not be prouder of my hometown, because I thought this was some good cooking, some good eating.
Oh, it definitely was. I can't believe it, but I actually ordered more than I could eat.
You do have a to-go doggy bag for your saddlebag, don't you?
I do.
That's right.
That's amazing. I was so hungry, but because I was digging in, but.
Well, and you know me, I love being in there and just feeling the farmer's presence, knowing that my daddy's farm's right down the road. And, you know, where I grew up, sister's still here. Brian's done a great job with the menu, with everything, and being able to have a place. When you do come home to a small town of Talullah, Louisiana, you got a great place to eat.
I know. Farmers Club. That says it all.
It does say it all, because as my daddy used to say, you don't care what I do for a living unless you eat or wear clothes. And we do both.
There you go.
All right, you ready to hit the road?
Let's go.
Okay.
LA Rider is brought to you by the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign, a 501c3 nonprofit organization exclusively dedicated to promoting motorcycle awareness and rider safety throughout Louisiana and the nation.
I didn't see him.
Watch for us.
She just came out of nowhere.
See us.
Oh, God, what am I gonna do?
Save us.
Please watch for motorcycles. You might just save someone's life.
Right when I got at the intersection of Choctaw and Foster, this great Challenger just jumped in the turning lane and busted a quick left turn in front of me right while I was at the intersection. All I could remember was the big crash, and next thing I know, I was in EMS, headed to the Our Lady of the Lake Hospital. Sustained a pelvis fracture from the front and the back, plus I sustained a crushed wrist, just trying to get back straight now. Plus I had 3 major arteries leaking, so I had internal bleeding when I went there, so they had to do emergency surgery to get that taken care of before they could get this here going. So actually I went through 3 surgeries. I had big daymaker lights on and all kind of other lighted up areas on it, you know. Plus I had a little noisy exhaust on it, you know. And I don't see how he wouldn't have seen me.
Please watch for motorcycles. You might just save someone's life.
I didn't see him.
She just came out of nowhere.
Oh, God, what am I gonna do?
Watch for us.
See us.
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 Watch for us.
Save us.
Nearly 2/3 of all motorcycle fatalities are caused by distracted and inattentive drivers. Please watch for motorcycles.
All of a sudden, I see this car. He stopped, starts to turn out in front of us. Next thing I knew, I was on the ground, crawling around, looking for, my boyfriend just to make sure he was okay. In 2 seconds, it can all be over. And people don't take the time to think about that when they're on the roads, because in our situation, the guy said, I saw them. I just thought I could make it. I never, ever in my entire life thought this would happen to me, honestly.
Support motorcycle safety and encourage other drivers to watch for motorcycles. Purchase a motorcycle awareness specialty plate for your car, truck, or motorcycle. For an additional $25 a year, you can help the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign promote safety, awareness, and training programs throughout Louisiana.
I'm T.W. Robinson. No matter what you ride, put a MAC plate on it and help support motorcycle awareness wherever you go.
Welcome back. I'm T.W. Robinson. Visiting Beach Springs and Jimmie Davis Tabernacle recently reminded me of a ride I took in the area 15 years ago. But this time, it wasn't just Jimmie Davis we were interested in, but his famous horse, Sunshine, too. Our ride to North Louisiana was an equal time ride of sorts, put together by viewer Jerry Oldham after seeing our story on Adolf Hitler's horse. You'll remember that horse is buried on a plantation near New Orleans. Well, this ride was to visit the grave of a truly American horse, a horse that belonged to one of Louisiana's most popular governors, Jimmie Davis.
Well, we're here, the gravesite of Sunshine, Governor Jimmie Davis's famous Palomino.
We found the grave of Sunshine on the North Louisiana farm of Davis's only son, Jimmie Davis Jr. There in the front yard of the family home is a monument depicting the final resting place of the beautiful white stallion named Sunshine.
This was the farm where Sunshine lived for years. We used to have a big cattle barn and all sitting off in this area and everything, and Sunshine was there along with 4, 5, 6 other horses. And Dad would come down and ride him, and I rode him a lot. We'd take him deer hunting and all. He's one of the few horses I've ever been on that you could actually shoot off of. Great animal, I guess that's why Dad loved it so much. Sometimes I thought he cared more about the horse than he did me, but
Perhaps Sunshine's most famous moment occurred during Davis's second term of office in the 1960s, when the governor rode Sunshine right up the Capitol steps and into his first-floor office. At the time, the governor told the press he did it because Sunshine had never seen his office. But Davis Jr. tells us the real reason.
Yeah, the true story is Dad rode him up the steps, of course, and took him to the governor's office. And, of course, reporters are all there and wanted to know. Governor said, why'd you bring this horse in here? He said, well, he'd never seen the governor's office before. He said, besides that, so there's so many horses up here. Anyway, I figured one more wouldn't make any difference.
Sunshine met an untimely end in 1965 when a horse trailer he was riding in turned over near Ruston.
They had a 1 7/16" ball on the truck, and the trailer was a 2-inch ball. And they were coming off a Ruston exit to get on the interstate and turned over and killed Sunshine. Oh. That was a sad day.
Davis Jr., meanwhile, never showed much interest in big city life or politics for that matter. An outdoorsman with a real passion for fishing and hunting, he has spent his years far from the limelight enjoyed by his famous dad. An avid big game hunter, Davis's living room is filled with trophies and mementos from his non-political life. But he also keeps a few reminders of those days of living in the governor's mansion and being the son of one of Louisiana's most famous citizens. Jim Davis passed away in 2012, just a couple of years after our visit. I enjoyed spending the day with him and hearing his stories, and I'm so glad I got to meet him. Well, that's it for this week. I'm T.W. Robinson. We'll see you right here next week, same time, same station, with another great edition of LA Rider. Remember, we haven't been everywhere, but it's on our list. See you next week.
LA Rider is brought to you by the Motorcycle Awareness Campaign, a 501c3 nonprofit organization exclusively dedicated to promoting motorcycle awareness and rider safety throughout Louisiana and the nation.
I didn't see him.
She just came out of nowhere.
Oh, God, what am I gonna do?
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us.
Watch for us.
See us. Watch for us.
Save us.
Nearly 2/3 of all motorcycle fatalities are caused by distracted and inattentive drivers. Please, watch for motorcycles.
God bless chrome cowgirls like us.